Live from KSAT 12, the news at noon starts right now.
Yeah, our mapping system in the helicopter actually quit that morning when we took off. But luckily, being my hometown, we were able to fly the roads to get back there.
Well, today we are getting to meet some of the Texas Parks and Wildlife game rangers involved in those rescue operations in Kerr County on July 4th and days after.
It was a traumatic event for many of the first responders, and our Patty Santos got a chance to talk to one of those game warden tactical flight officers who lives in Kerrville.
She reports Brent Biggs grew up swimming and playing on that river. He was even a lifeguard at Camp Mystic as a teenager. So getting to see the devastation firsthand from the air was heartbreaking.
Brent Biggs is preparing for a typical training exercise. He's up there, hanging from the side of the chopper. Biggs is the tactical flight officer, maneuvering the hoist and directing the pilot where to go to get the swimmer to the victim. The Kerrville native has been doing this kind of work for a decade, but the Hill Country flood event was different.
That morning, July 4th, you heard the call for Kerrville, Kerr County. That's your community. What are you thinking when you're hearing this?
At first I was just, those are my people, and was, anxious to get there and help.
The weather was pretty dangerous and the helicopter's navigation failed. So the hometown local used his knowledge of the roads to guide the pilot to Kerrville.
The first rescue, we took off from the airport and we were headed upriver, and some of the boat crews were out underneath an individual, stuck in a tree.
I saw it raging.
Yeah.
Had you ever seen the Guadalupe like that?
Just like a lot of chocolate milk on a river that's typically nice and clear.
Seeing his community underwater and Camp Mystic devastated made this call feel personal.
What was it like for you going into Camp Mystic?
I had lifeguarded there, a couple times growing up on the river. Lifeguarding campers that were there swimming, so it hit a little close to home.
Did you get a chance to interact with some of the girls that day?
A little bit, loading them up into the helicopter and just making sure they were okay with, what was going on. But yeah, just hearing them every time we took off, when we loaded up, 4 more girls in the aircraft each time. Every time we took off, you could hear them scream and cry once we, got overhead of the camp and saw the devastation along the river.
As part of his job, he continued to return to Kerr County in the weeks after the flood, but it's also his home.
You see the devastation that's still there, people still hurting, trying to recover. And so it's definitely a long process, and the hardest part starts once everybody leaves and there's still work to be done.
Well, Patty told us that he says that they had friends and family who were affected by the flood. So a total of 14 aircraft teams were involved in the search that day. And we have shared just some of the many stories, so you can see all of them right now on our website, ksat.com.
Well, if you or your family hasn't recently been hit by COVID, it's going around. It's the summer surge right now, and although it seems to be slowly dropping off, cases are still very high right now. University Hospital infectious disease doctor Jason Bowling says the strain right now is nicknamed Nimbus and has been described as a severe flu symptom, which seemingly causes fatigue that lasts longer after other symptoms have stopped. This all while people normally start getting their COVID vaccine for the year. But the Trump administration just released new recommendations, making it harder for some people to get it.
In years past, most people are used to everybody 6 months and older can get the COVID vaccine. The FDA came out with some restrictions. People 65 and older can get it. People 6 months to 64 years of age, so just under that 65 years of age, need to have at least one condition that puts them at risk.
That new recommendation is confusing pharmacies, physicians, and insurance companies. So while we wait for further information from those federal agencies, experts say if you want the vaccine, you should call your doctor to go over your options. And tonight at 6, I'll tell you when we could possibly hear updates about how those restrictions will work.
Out there with a live cam this afternoon. Yeah, we're up to 82 degrees, but it was such a nice cool morning again, Shelby.
I know. I was waking up this morning and I had my nice cup of coffee on my balcony today. It seemed very much like a perfect fall morning. However, it's not really fall yet, right? It's kind of that false fall in between summer and second summer. But temperatures this morning were still waking up in the 60s and even 50s for some. 59 degrees was the low temperature in Kerrville this morning. At the San Antonio airport, we only got to about 69 degrees, 61 up in Austin and LaGrange. But not only that, most of the country was sitting in those 60s. Now, for some portions, like the upper portions of the Midwest near Grand Forks, Minneapolis, Pierre, that's a little above average. They're normally seeing temperatures in those upper 50s, those low 60s by now, but even portions across the eastern seaboard near Washington, New York, most of us were sitting in the 60s this morning. Now, for us, we're expected to continue to kind of sit on that trend. Temperatures in those low 60s or even those low 70s, I should say, upper 60s throughout the next week or so. And it's going to be very copy paste, and not only for our morning temperatures, but for our afternoon temperatures too. It's going to be very normal, very stereotypical, and that was that false fall the last few mornings we saw. But our afternoon temperatures are slowly going to warm up to feel like we're in that second summer. I'll break down your afternoon temperatures, plus explain what the Ozone Action Day today actually means for San Antonio, coming up in just a bit.
All right, thanks so much, Shelby. Well, from the classroom to the pediatric ICU, a Southside High School mother is warning other parents about drug-laced edibles after her 16-year-old was rushed to a hospital after taking what he thought was a THC gummy. Cassie Balderas tells us her 16-year-old son, Aiden, and another student went to their cars during lunch last Tuesday. That's where she says Aiden was offered the THC gummy, adding that soon after he took it, he started throwing up and even went unconscious before being taken to the hospital.
I can tell you every emotion possible fled through my heart and my mind.
Seeing your son unconscious in a hospital bed, what are you doing right there? Are you talking to him? Are you saying anything to him?
I was crying and begging him to wake up. I shook him, I kissed him, I hugged him.
Aiden spent 25 hours at the hospital. Thankfully, he is now doing much better. According to hospital documents, the diagnosis is cannabis abuse and other psychoactive substance abuse. We have been in contact with Southside ISD. They tell us a field test was performed on the gummy and that only found THC in it, but they did send it to a lab for further testing.
Well, San Antonio police are investigating a road rage shooting from last night that happened on the I-10 access road near Culebra. Now, a man in his 30s was shot. However, he is recovering in the hospital. Officials say that the driver pulled over to call and get help after the incident. So detectives are now looking into exactly what led to that shooting.
A man is dead, shot at least a dozen times in the chest over what the Bexar County Sheriff's Office suggests was a love triangle. Another is charged with his murder. The suspect is 21-year-old Mason Rodriguez. Sheriff's deputies say he shot Enrique Perales Monday night at a home on Calle Fincias. That is south of U.S. Highway 90. When they got there, they found the 29-year-old shot in the chest. Investigators say the two were romantically involved with the same woman. They also think the suspect was with other people at the scene of the crime, so they are asking anyone with information about the case to call the Bexar County Sheriff's Office.
Well, the Northeast ISD community gathered last night to remember Timothy Kitterman, the MacArthur High School teacher who died last week on campus after a medical emergency. The Grace Point Church was full of family, friends, and students to honor him. Kitterman is leaving a legacy at the high school after he helped start the American Sign Language courses nearly 18 years ago.
Just his spirit and the way he cared so much about our program and his students. Honestly, ASL was a place for everybody, and it's just going to be really hard to find somebody else to fill those really big shoes.
Well, Kitterman was an educator for more than 20 years, and he was awarded Teacher of the Year back in 2019.
Well, today, people with big plans are seeing what it takes to pitch a winning idea and get potential investment during San Antonio Startup Week, which is next month.
Our Devin Karp went to Launch SA at the Central Library to see how startup leaders and entrepreneurs are coming together for San Antonio Startup Day.
We're right over here for San Antonio Startup Day, where we just finished listening to one of the entrepreneurs pitch his idea and really get some help with the community on fine-tuning some of the different things that's going to help his business become successful. There are a lot of events that are going to be going on over at Launch SA and over at Geekdom later on for the day. But for now, let's talk over to Franklin. How's it going? How was it?
It's going well. It was a lot of fun.
Good, good, good. So tell me a little bit. You created Tabs, right? Just what does Tabs do for anyone who doesn't know?
Yeah, so Tabs is a competitive intelligence product. It helps you track everything your competitors are doing in one place. That's news, reviews, website changes, social media, all of that stuff, so you don't have to track it all manually.
And you're using a lot of like AI technology to help with that, right? Really staying current and up to date with everything that's going on?
Yeah, definitely. So AI does a lot to filter out the signal from the noise, right? There's just a lot happening. If you've ever tried to track something with a Google review, or a Google alert, that you just end up kind of ignoring them after a while. So we try to really index on relevance of what's happening and competitive relevance in particular.
Awesome. So I know you just went through a little bit of your presentation with your business, what you've done and everything. How helpful is it to get some of those questions from people who know what you're talking about, right? Get that ideas, bounce back off of each other.
Yeah, it's really important. You kind of can't build something like this in the dark. Getting feedback from people that are potential customers that think about things from different angles, that may want to track different data sources I didn't think about, it's really, really essential.
Awesome. Yeah. So you're here with San Antonio Startup Day. Startup Week is coming up in October later on. I know you've been able to get some help from Startup Week in the past. How do you feel now watching a room full of entrepreneurs kind of jump into what's next for them?
Yeah, it's really energizing and cool to see this sort of activity in San Antonio right now. So I'm very excited about it and happy to be part of it.
Fantastic. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you for your time, Franklin. I appreciate it. Best of luck to you.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. If you need a full schedule of events coming up for San Antonio Startup Day, you can go to our website right now, KSAT.com. We've got it up there for you. For now, Devin Karp, KSAT 12 News.
All right, thanks, Devin. Well, some good news when it comes to the economy after a new report was released today. How this could impact interest rates and your wallet.
And San Antonio is always buzzing with things to do, and everyone has their favorite spots. How you can help us find San Antonio's top businesses. Well, we are well into the month of September, and now is your chance to nominate your favorite educator at your school or your child's school for KSAT's Educator of the Month Award. So the contest is officially kicking off today, and to enter, you can just scan that QR code on your screen, or you can go to our website at KSAT.com and search Educator of the Month. So this is a wonderful opportunity to shine the spotlight on the people who do so much for our students and for our community. Well, the Alamo City has a rich culture with a lot to offer, but sometimes there's almost too many choices.
Yeah, so we're helping you find the best of the best. And that's the goal of our SA Picks campaign. Whether it's the top tattoo shop or the best bakery, there are plenty of businesses that have made it to this final round of voting.
So here's one category everyone in San Antonio has an opinion on: the best tacos. The finalists are Las Palapas, Taco Palenque, Tacos and Salsa, and Mambo Seafood.
Lots of options. And so what's a taco without a good margarita? The choices in this category are River North Ice House, Las Palapas, Amira Sol, Perico's Mexican Restaurant. So thousands of people have already cast their votes across nearly 100 categories.
And you can make your picks on KSAT.com. Just scan that QR code that's on your screen right now.
Voting is September 12th, and we will announce the winners later this month.
I love a good taco and a margarita.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Especially on a warm day like today. It's gonna be a nice day to maybe go sit out on the patio because we're not seeing it humid outside today. It's going to be very dry heat. And with that, we're also seeing a little bit of a change in the aquifer. We are down today 0.3 of a foot. And some good news is we're seeing a little bit of relief with molds. They've been high or very high over the last few days. They're down to just moderate levels at 920 with just ragweed at 30 and is low. But we're getting into the season of ragweed and fall elm. And before, get a little bit of a break before mountain cedar returns. I'll break down what you need to know for not only what's in the air today, but what could be lingering in the air and even in the Gulf next week, coming up after the break.
I know that we do want to talk about the air quality, but in the break we were looking at We were looking at Halloween necklaces and jewelry because that is so Stephanie.
She was so excited.
It's false fall. We can't do it yet.
Yes.
It's too hot.
It doesn't feel like fall. I know. I just got the alert on my phone. I'm like, oh wow. So my phone's ready.
In the mornings, it feels amazing. Yes. I've been having coffee on my balcony every morning, but then you get to the afternoon and it's not as humid, so it doesn't feel as warm. But today, it is still going to feel warm. But part of the reason it's dry is a few things. But because it's so dry, we do have an ozone action day. And what that means basically is we do have some air quality alerts for all those counties in the yellow. But what the ozone action day actually means is we're sitting a little on the drier side. There's not as much humidity. There's just dry air sitting over South Texas, and that's going to help elevate the ozone pollutions over the next few hours. And with that, it can cause some issues if you do have respiratory illnesses, if you do have asthma, take caution, because we are tracking that to be in the atmosphere at least throughout today. Now, that's only for today where we're having some air quality alerts. And even right now, most of them are well to the east. We're talking Houston is having some moderate levels, but right now in San Antonio up to Kerr County, just some light air quality issues. But remember, it is going to be all throughout the day today because we're seeing that dry air really start to sink into areas of San Antonio. And in fact, for most of South Texas, we're continuing to see that dry air move further down. Well, there's some showers and thunderstorms in portions of the tornado alley, but otherwise, it's really going to be it. Today is going to be very much copy paste, not only today, but tomorrow and throughout the rest of the week. And even taking a look outside, you don't really see a single cloud in the sky. So it's going to be a very nice day. We're already warming up to about 83 degrees. And part of the reason we're feeling dry, like I just showed you on that water vapor chart in that map, is we're seeing that dry air. And you can really tell between our actual air temperature and the dew point temperature. The dew point temperature and the air temperature, the further away they are and the further apart, that's going to allow us to see really that dry air, and it's not going to feel as humid for some folks. 80 degrees right now still in Del Rio, 83 in Kerr County, in Kerrville, but otherwise it's going to be warm today. But we're not expecting abnormally warm. We're still getting to right about average temperature for us this time of year. 94 degrees expected for peak temperature today in San Antonio. Still continuing to see those clear skies, and even by 10 p.m. we're finally starting to dip down to the 80s. So even if you're out late tonight, it's still going to be feeling very nice, very comfortable. And traditionally, we haven't really seen any triple-digit days over the last little while. Traditionally, our lightest 100-degree day is reported September 28th, and that was back in 2005. Normally, we see our last triple-digit day around the beginning of September, maybe mid-September. So our latest 100-degree day is actually September 28th. Now, even on the 7-day, we are expected to get to the 90s, but we're not expecting any triple-digit heat. I wouldn't be surprised if we do continue to see the possibility of maybe 1 or 2 as we get closer to the middle and to the end of September. But our temperatures are slowly but surely starting to decrease, and even in our mornings. Still, another copy-paste day, temperatures in the low 70s and even some upper 60s, Courtney.
Wholesale prices coming in better than expected in a new report today, but overall there is concern about the U.S. economy. I'm Rena Roy, and I'll have the latest coming up.
A better than expected economic report out today, but it comes on the heels of a dismal revised jobs report.
As ABC's Rena Roy reports, it will be factored into a big decision next week by the Federal Reserve concerning interest rates.
A glimmer of hope in economic news this morning. The Producer Price Index, which measures the prices wholesalers are paying, coming in surprisingly better than experts were expecting. It's 0.1% lower compared to a month ago, beating expectations that prices would be up 0.3% this month.
So this is what businesses pay for products before they then sell them to you. And we look at that really closely because it kind of says what's in the pipeline. If those prices are going up, might mean the prices for consumers are going up too. But overall prices are still up on the year.
It's a key number as the Federal Reserve prepares to meet next week to discuss potential interest rate cuts. Another big factor whether or not there will be a rate cut, that data we got this week on the job market. Revised data shows the economy added 911,000 fewer jobs over the 12 months ending in March than previously estimated. The White House blaming the Biden administration and casting down on the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which compiled the report. As the Fed grapples with ongoing inflation in this country, President Trump attempting to fire Fed Governor Lisa Cook, accusing her of falsifying records to obtain favorable terms on a mortgage. Cook saying in a statement she will not be bullied to step down from her position, but does intend to answer questions about her financial history. A federal judge blocking her firing on Tuesday, allowing her to continue in her role, saying President Trump has not stated a legally permissible cause for Cook's removal.
We're also keeping an eye on a key inflation report that comes out tomorrow on the Consumer Price Index. That's what you pay for goods. If it's in line with expectations that prices rose 2.9% from last year, we could see the Fed cut interest rates next week. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Well, if these sores look familiar, you've seen hand, foot, and mouth disease. It's no fun. The virus causes red blisters and it's very contagious. Recently, a local mom went to TikTok venting about her school district's policies, saying kids are allowed to come to school while still contagious. So I checked out the policy at Northeast ISD and asked a doctor what he suggests.
Hand, foot, and mouth is going around really bad in San Antonio. And the school districts, say my children's school, is allowing children to attend school with active blisters.
Dominique West posted this TikTok last week, which has garnered at least 180,000 views. She's concerned about hand, foot, and mouth disease, a viral infection that results in red sores or bumps in different parts of the body.
It is so contagious. And I think that's the biggest reason why I made my video.
We caught up with Dominique, who said her kids at any ISD schools told her there are students with open sores allowed at school.
So I got home and I examined her, and sure enough, she was full blown. She had sores in her mouth already. She had sores everywhere.
We reached out to any ISD about their policy, and sure enough, students with sores are not explicitly barred from coming to school. The district said, we follow the Department of State Health guidelines for contagious illnesses. They state that a student with hand, foot, and mouth can return to school when they are fever-free. Of course, if the doctor's note for a particular student said they could not return to school until all blisters are healed, we would follow that guidance, end quote. Many other school districts follow the same state guidelines. Does that concern you?
I think school districts have a very tricky job of trying to balance out when do kids stay home, when do they come back to the school environment. Everybody's really close together, and so there's a lot of risk there. Some skin lesions can, even after they've healed, still be present, so it's a little bit difficult to time it based on skin lesions sometimes.
University Health Infectious Disease Dr. Jason Bowling said that's why his main emphasis is on hand washing.
Especially before eating, before touching their face, make sure that they're doing hand hygiene.
While Dominique wishes the state and school policies were less vague, she's also hoping doctors will write notes urging contagious kids to stay home.
As a mom, I just want to keep our children safe, truly. I just want to keep everybody's children safe.
Yeah, and Dr. Bowling adds, because it's a virus, there's no medication for hand, foot, and mouth, but it usually only lasts about 5 to 7 days. But it is important to take extra precautions if you're pregnant or have a weak immune system.
I just told Courtney and Shelby, yeah, that is no fun. I had it in 2017. It was terrible for an adult.
Exactly. The kids give it to the whole family.
Yeah, my daughter was fine. She was, had a little sore throat one day and she was good to go the next day, and not me.
Oh, no.
Took you down.
Yes,
I mean, there are so many things going around, especially as kiddos are finally back at school. There's any sort of viruses, and even people who have issues with the pollen count is normally where we see some sort of sniffles or sore throats going around. But the good news is today we're not seeing that humidity associated with it, and it did allow the molds to finally decrease. But today temperatures will continue to be on the warmer side, about 94 degrees in San Antonio, 92 in Comfort and Kerrville, 94 in areas of Canyon Lake. And today it's going to be warm. But tomorrow we're expecting another cooler morning, another false fall morning, if you will, where portions of the hill country, they're going to be in the 60s once again. Even a few 50s are even possible for some folks. But as you get closer to San Antonio in the city, we get the urban heating, and that's going to allow our temperatures to be a few degrees warmer. So we're expecting to be about 71 degrees in San Antonio tomorrow morning. But otherwise, most of us still sitting in the 60s and 70s with really no rain chances. Yes, there is only a 10% chance on Friday, but it's mostly towards the coastal plains. If we see anything in San Antonio, it's going to be very, very small, maybe a quick sprinkle, but we're expecting it to be mostly closer to the coastal plains down near the valley. Not really for us here in San Antonio. And even this weekend, it's going to be beautiful. We're expecting partly cloudy to mostly clear skies, temperatures in those mid to upper 90s, and waking up once again in the mid to low 70s and even more 60s. It's going to be a beautiful weekend to go out in San Antonio, especially if there's any football games. I know there's a big one in San Antonio this weekend. I'll have the latest on what you can expect this weekend. Plus, today's the peak hurricane day in the peak hurricane season. I'll break down what you need to know of why we're not seeing anything coming up in just a bit.
Thank you, Shelby. Well, the Supreme Court will decide whether or not President Donald Trump's sweeping global tariffs are legal. The High Court announced yesterday that it will hear the case. A lower court ruled that the Trump administration did not have the authority to impose many of the tariffs under a federal law meant for emergencies. The Trump administration argues that the tariffs are needed to address major trade deficits with other countries. They also say tariffs put economic pressure on countries like Canada, Mexico, and China to end trafficking of fentanyl and other illegal drugs into the U.S. The court is set to hear oral arguments in November. In the meantime, the tariffs will remain in place until the legal challenges are resolved.
A new study shows marijuana may cause chromosomal defects in human egg cells. Researchers worry this potential damage to unfertilized eggs in female ovaries may lead to infertility, miscarriage, and possible genetic defects in babies. The study linked higher levels of THC, which is the chemical that produces a high if you do marijuana, with changes in how eggs mature and a possible increase in chromosome malformations. This comes as marijuana use during pregnancy is rising. A recent study found self-reported cannabis use more than tripled among pregnant women in the U.S. from 2002 to 2020.
The Federal Aviation Administration warned that airlines again about the risk of lithium batteries on board planes. So in a safety alert, the FAA said the batteries could malfunction and start a fire. Lithium batteries can be found in cell phones, laptops, e-cigarettes, and hearing aids, just to name a few. The agency says it has tracked 50 verified battery-related incidents through August. The safety alert is aimed at encouraging airlines to consider the hazard posed by lithium batteries stowed in areas that are not easily accessible, like overhead bins or carry-on bags. Well, Russia's war with Ukraine is escalating after a massive drone attack spilled into Poland. NATO allies scrambled to shoot several of the drones down, and Poland's president says more than a dozen violated Polish airspace. The White House says President Trump is set to speak with Poland's president sometime today. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the details from Washington.
Overnight and into this morning, NATO allies rushed F-35 jets to fight off Russian drones that violated Polish airspace. It happened over Poland's southeastern border with Ukraine, as Russia's onslaught of attacks against Ukraine spilled over into NATO territory. Poland's prime minister says 15 Russian drones violated Polish airspace. At least 4 were shot down by Dutch and Polish warplanes considered a direct threat. The Kremlin today says it did not have any planned targets in Poland. The wreckage of one Russian drone damaged a residential building in eastern Poland. In response, the top commander of U.S. and NATO forces said, quote, NATO responded quickly and decisively to the situation. A separate spokesperson for NATO troops adds, this is the first time NATO planes have engaged potential threats in Allied airspace. The escalation into Poland happened during a massive attack on Ukraine. Ukraine says Russia launched more than 400 drones and more than 40 missiles.
Allies expressed solidarity with Poland and denounced Russia's reckless behavior. A full assessment of the incident is ongoing.
Poland held an emergency meeting with NATO allies this morning and called the incident deliberate, saying Moscow is waging war with the whole Western world. For months, U.S. and European leaders have threatened Russia's Vladimir Putin with severe consequences if he doesn't take meaningful steps to end the war in Ukraine. Many of those leaders are repeating their calls today.
We need more pressure on Russia to come to the negotiation table. We need more sanctions.
Ukrainian President Zelensky is urging global allies to step up air defense supplies. Over the weekend, Russia staged its largest aerial attack on Ukraine since the war began. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Changes on a social media app, why the company hopes it'll lead to safer experiences for younger users.
And a baseball team that's trying to amp up the fun. It's bringing their unique style of play to San Antonio. And one of the players showing off some moves this noon. Well, the Savannah Bananas and Party Animals gearing up for a game here in the Alamo City. Unfortunately, that is now sold out.
Yeah, if you're not familiar, the Savannah Bananas are a baseball team that's spicing things up on the diamond. The games feature trick plays and lots of dancing.
Yes, a lot of dancing. So earlier this morning, one of the players from the Party Animals joined us on GMSA Plus and put Ernie Zuniga's dance and baseball skills to the test.
So we're gonna backflip. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Okay. We're gonna start off with "Hey Baby." That is our basic and our most famous dance that we do every single game for the Savannah Bananas.
Okay.
We're gonna start it off. We're gonna go with our hands up in the air.
Okay. Oh goodness. Let me get comfortable here. Okay.
Left. We're gonna go. Hey.
Hey baby. Okay.
Pick up the hands. Ooh. Ooh.
Ow.
Bring it back, and then we're gonna turn around. I wanna know. And then point at the camera.
If you'll be my girl.
Clap, 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 clap. See, look at that.
I got it. Okay, very good. That's good. That's good.
It's as simple as that.
Okay.
So you get a little bit more energy into it, and a 1, and a 2, and a 1, 2, 3.
Hey, hey, baby. Ooh, I wanna know if you'll be my girl.
Look at that.
Okay, I'm in.
Jesse Cole, you seeing this? We might have a banana ball player.
We'll see.
Right here.
Okay.
Once we get into the defense, we'll see how it looks.
Yeah. Okay. This is awesome. I love this because even the umpire gets involved and everything like that, and you guys have a really good time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. There's so many crazy things that happen in a game, especially if you come to a game in person. There's things that will go by so fast that you'll even miss if you blink. So
let me grab this back here.
Yeah. Be sure to take a look at it. Everything's on YouTube, on TV, and by checking it out, you're gonna see some stuff. So like you'll click onto a channel and you'll be like, what is that dude dancing doing?
It's amazing stuff. Just when you think you've seen it all, they do some other stuff. So if you can get a ticket, the Savannah Bananas, the Party Animals will be at Wolf Stadium. And again, if not, you might have to catch them in another city. But you guys are all over the place. And I know you're, like I said, visiting some kids today and everything. So we really appreciate you stopping by and making some time for us here today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I just wanted to check. Did you want to get any catching work?
If you have time. I mean, sure. Okay. Okay, Patty. Okay, sure. Okay.
All right.
The producers will tell me when to shut up, so yes.
We've got glove right here, beautiful Party Animal colors.
Okay.
Beautiful Party Animal colors, catcher's glove. All we're going to have you do is we're going to have you get down in a squat. And now, with banana ball, the thing is, after you get a strike 3, I need you to celebrate. I need you to get something, either in between the legs, something, anything crazy.
All right.
Do we have an umpire back here, possibly?
Patty?
No?
Go, Bronson, if you want to take the microphone.
Is that possible?
Here comes Patty.
Everyone.
Because Patty.
Okay, we're going to say it's 2 strikes.
Okay, 2 strikes.
For strike 3. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now we need a dancer right after this.
Oh, strike 3.
Strike 3. Strike 3. Hey. Look at that. Boom!
Thank you very much.
Let's go!
Thank you.
Future banana ball right on our hands right here.
I just set banana ball back about 10 years. I think we're okay. I would continue, but I'm literally winded, Bronson. So thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. All the best to you.
Thank you guys so much.
Okay, if they'll let me back in the building, hopefully we'll continue on here in a little bit. Back to you guys.
That was the best.
We're going to have to see if he's sore tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. That was the greatest thing I've seen on television in a long time.
I will say, I I won't lie. I have turned on the banana ball games on ESPN before because it is such a fun game to watch.
Ernie needs to join the team.
Oh, absolutely.
I just cannot get over this. That was amazing.
Now, if you are going this weekend when they're in San Antonio, it might be a little toasty, so wear the sunscreen, drink plenty of water, because we're seeing this area of high pressure make its way closer to San Antonio, not giving us the traditional triple-digit temperatures, but it's still going to block any weather, giving us a little bit of a copy-paste day over the next week or so. But the tropics are also quiet, which is normally rare. I'll talk about why they're quiet coming up after the break. So it's still September, it is still hurricane season, and in fact today on September 10th we are the peak of hurricane season, but we haven't really seen an active season. Yes, we've had a few named storms. Yes, we've had a few areas we've been watching, but normally we should have a semi-active season already. And even then, the Gulf temperatures sitting in those mid to upper 80s, 86 as you get closer to Texas, 84 near the Florida Panhandle, even as you get into the Caribbean, 86 degrees is the temperature. So why aren't we seeing the warmer temperatures, especially on average every year? We see about 7 hurricanes. 3 of them are major hurricanes and 14 named storms. This year, the National Oceanic Administration and NOAA have continued to say we'll have 13 to 19 named storms, and 6 to 10 of them are hurricanes and 3 to 5 are major. So it's still normally compared to average, but we haven't seen any. In fact, we've only gotten to A through F. We've had Andrea, which was the very first one out in the Atlantic. It only lasted maybe a few days, maybe 2 days, I believe. Then we had Barry, which was right before the 4th of July, and the remnants of Tropical Storm Barry is part of the reason we saw such drastic heavy flooding over July 4th weekend, because we had all that tropical moisture just sitting in areas of the Gulf. And then we had Chantel, we had Dexter, Aaron, Fernand, and the next one would be Gabrielle. But once again, we're not expecting any sort of development over the next 7 days. The Atlantic Basin is very quiet. Yes, there are still a few clusters of thunderstorms off the coast of Africa, but normally the National Hurricane Center says some sort of tropical wave is expected to make its way through, but they're not expecting any sort of development over the next 7 days, whereas in the Pacific, we still have Kiko still closer into areas of Hawaii, but we also are tracking a 90% chance of development as we get closer to Mexico, and even then, that's a 90% development. But it's in the Pacific, not even necessarily the Atlantic. So why is the Atlantic so quiet? Normally, it is still a little active, but we've seen such dry, stable air and that Saharan dust. We've had such high wind shear that it hasn't been allowing the tropical waves to really continue to build and cause the organization and the moisture associated with the tropical cyclones and the tropical systems. The Saharan dust really allows it to weaken. Same with the wind shear, same with the dry, stable air. So we haven't been able to see any sort of tropical systems arrive. And even then, this week in San Antonio, we're not expecting any sort of rain. Maybe a 10% chance on Friday and maybe a 10% chance next Tuesday. But that's going to stay closer to the coastal plains. We're really seeing kind of a copy-paste week for most of us here across the south central Texas, even temperatures in the morning in the 60s and 70s.
Thank you, Shelby.
I'm so excited for that.
Me too. There's a new feature on a well-known social media platform, how Snapchat is working to make the app safer for teens. Well, Snapchat announcing a new feature to help teens stay safe while using the popular app.
ABC's Rebecca Jarvis describes the course that will be available.
Snapchat introducing a new way to teach teens about how to stay safe on its app.
We built this program to help you learn about some of the risks that come with using online platforms.
It's a program they call The Keys, a guide to digital safety.
We're looking to ignite critical thinking in teens' brains.
The Keys are an interactive course aimed at educating teens on bullying, illicit drug activity, nude and intimate images, and sextortion. The 45-minute program can be done in multiple settings and presents teens and their parents with realistic, dangerous scenarios, offering resources on how to navigate them.
If an intimate photo of you is shared, there are steps you can take to help protect yourself.
There are going to be people that are up to no good. And we want to get ahead of that, get proactive by having parents and teens have conversations about some of the most serious risks that are out there across the digital spaces.
Snapchat joining other social media companies in this move to keep teens safe. TikTok previously expanding its family pairing feature, earlier this year giving parents more control, and this summer, Meta introducing new safety features for teen accounts.
Temperatures today already getting to 86 degrees. We've risen about 3 or 4 degrees since the noon show started, and we're going to continue to see the sunnier skies, allowing for our temperatures to get even warmer, getting to that mid 90s range. 94 degrees for our peak temperature today, 95 on Friday. Really kind of a copy-paste week, if I say so. Yes, there's a 10% chance on Friday and on Tuesday, but most of that's going to be near the coastal plains, but it's going to have beautiful mornings to go out and run stuff.
Yay, we love it. Good news. Thank you, Shelby. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.